Hey guys, welcome to Super Important Reviews. My name is Steve, and in this video we're going over the NECA Pacific Rim Series 5 Anchorage Attack Yeager Gipsy Danger with battle damage. This is another Gipsy Danger, and I repeat, another Gipsy Danger in the NECA Pacific Rim series. Now, I know personally that I'm getting a little bit winded of all these Gipsy Dangers that are being released, but this one actually is a little bit cool to me because hopefully it does work really well with my battle damage Knifehead, because this is from that scene from the film where him and Knifehead have their epic confrontation off of Anchorage. And I'm really hoping that that works really well with that figure because I love that fight scene because it's very reminiscent of a Godzilla film for me. So that's pretty much what gives this figure a little bit of merit for me, and especially since he comes with a plasma cannon, like that's actually a first with these littler figures anyways. And I already know I'm not planning on picking up the next Gipsy Danger because literally this figure, battle damage on the next side, and some of the stuff changed a little bit, and he comes with a sword. Another sword! So I don't really plan on picking another figure unless I really have to. So without further ado, for the packaging, literally the same we began with all the other Pacific Rims with the series before it. Has a kaiju kill count of 10, which is pretty sweet. On the bottom of the package, just tells you he's an all-new figure with battle damage, who he is. Got a nice concept image of him on the bottom corner here. Nothing really on the sides here. On the back of the packaging, tells you he's a Mark III Yeager. Gives you a symbol underneath the Gipsy Danger here. Gives you a nice image of the figure inside the packaging. It also tells you some of the other figures with Tacit Ronin, Hong Kong Brawl, Gipsy Danger, and Romeo Blue, which will be coming out soon. And that's pretty much it. Some mumbo jumbo on the bottom. Let's get him open up out of his plastic prison. Alright, so now Anchorage is open up out of his prison. First we're going to go over his accessories, which is a fist and a forearm. Which the fist looks very nice, has a lot of very good molded details. Some of this metallic blue and black paint in there really helps to make it a little bit of an eye-catching piece. Pretty much the exact same thing we got with Hong Kong Brawl Gipsy Danger, but it still looks really good. You also get the forearm here, which pretty much the same thing with that too. No real noticeable battle damage, just some of the paint's a little bit blemished and whatnot, but it still has the same metallic blue and black that you see a lot on the other Gipsy Danger back here. And it even has some of the pinstriping here with the red and the white, so that's really nice. Then what you do is you just take your fist, you insert it into the hole here. Pretty simple stuff. A little stiff, but there we go. And then what this is for is if you really don't want the plasma cannon on the Anchorage Attack Gipsy, you can swap it out with the fist. And what I think is actually pretty sweet about them giving us this is that if you don't want the plasma cannon on this version of Gipsy Danger, you can actually take it off and put it on the Hong Kong Brawl Gipsy Danger, which I'll show here in a minute. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to grab as close to the ball joint here as possible to relieve as much stress off that peg as possible. In case it's a pretty big peg there, but I would still worry about snapping it. And then you just apply some pressure, start pulling it out. I like to wiggle it a little bit here and there, and it pops off pretty easily without the hairdryer. The one thing that is kind of hard is getting this one on, because I notice mine's really tight. I'm going to try to get it on right now without the hairdryer, just to show you guys, and it's going slowly but surely. And there we go. So if you want it, you can have it with the fist on there. So that's pretty neat. And what's also neat is he has the peg hole here for the sword. So if you have the Hong Kong Brawl Gipsy Danger again, you can just insert the sword into here to make some pretty good use out of this arm and this Gipsy as well. And what's also neat is, again, this can actually go on the Hong Kong Brawl Gipsy Danger. So if you got him, you grab your Hong Kong Brawl Gipsy Danger. Again, grab as close to the ball joint as you can. Wiggle it a little bit just to loosen it up. Pull it off. Pop on the cannon here. Pretty easy on this guy, which it looks really nice on the Hong Kong Brawl Gipsy Danger, which actually in my Hong Kong Brawl Gipsy Danger would actually stand up appropriately. He did like to tip over a little bit after doing that review. He's stands up pretty well, but you have to get him securely positioned. But this is more of a review for him, but still, it does look really cool if you put it on the Hong Kong Brawl Gipsy, which I actually kind of like this look, so it does give this guy a lot more of a selling point in my opinion, just to make this figure even better. And just to show you guys, if you have the Hong Kong Brawl Gipsy Danger's chainsword, goes right into the peg hole down here, shove it right in there, stays in there pretty nicely. And again, it looks really cool on this figure, and it's a really nice compliment if you have the Hong Kong Brawl Gipsy. Really helps to make this figure even better as well. Alright, so after reattaching Gipsy's plasma cannon hand, One thing that is a little bit of a bummer for this figure, for me anyways, is with the original Battle Damage Gipsy Danger that they put out, one of my major complaints was I wish they would have went a little bit more crazier with the battle damage. What you see here is what they did, but I'm going to reiterate again. Wish they would have went a little bit more crazier with the battle damage here, because going into some of the closer details, for the helmet, looks pretty cool, because you see on this side, very Gipsy Danger, very clean, looks really nice. Really like this red little pinstripe here. And then you start turning the head and oh my god! You'll see right here that this is the battle damage that you've seen from the film where Knifehead literally digs his nails into the side of Gypsy's helmet here, ripping out a large chunk of the helmet and also taking Raleigh's brother Yahtzee with him. And it's really cool what they did here with a lot of the black paint, and there's a lot of effects going on here. It's even this yellow paint here too, where it's, I imagine it's replicating the sparks that you see flying off at the time, where a lot of the wiring electronics are severed and you get a lot of those sparks there. So that's pretty cool. And there's even like a little nail impression here on the back of the head. But I wish it went in a little bit farther, because to me that's not very shallow. Where in the film it literally goes inside the cockpit, so you would have been able to see like towards the inner portion of this. Which, it would have been cool. I imagine that would have been really hard to do on the figure without making it really breakable. So I give this a pass still, but it just would have been a lot more aesthetically pleasing if that was a little bit deeper. And the same here with the gash here, which this is towards the end of the fight where Knifehead is literally digging the front of his face into this. Actually, just grabbing my Knifehead real quick. In the scene, you see Knifehead literally digging his face into his chest, and you see Gipsy Danger like withering in pain, where he's like, no, no. But the one thing that's kind of a bummer is it doesn't go in very deep, which in the film he actually gets in there pretty good. And I would have wished that, again, it would have been conveyed a lot nicer, because it would have been really cool to actually have his face inside of Gypsy's body. Like, that would have been a really awesome little display piece that you could have done with this figure. Which is kind of lost on this because, again, it's just not very deep on the figure. Which, I imagine, again, it's the same problem for here, too. I imagine where if it was a lot deeper, it would have hurt the structural integrity of the figure. But this one, I could see them actually being able to at least do a little bit better. And it just would have made for a really awesome little set piece on your display. And the same, getting a Knifehead out here. The same over here too on the arms here. So I wish there was a little bit more damage, because there's quite a lot up here. On the film, he's lost like a good portion of it down here as well, on a lot of his armor plating and whatnot. Which on here still looks pretty clean. You'll see a little bit more of the dinging up back here. But I wish this was a lot more damage than it already was. But it's still pretty cool. What they got here too, though, is where you got a lot of the wiring from the severed arm when Knifehead, making another appearance, digs his face into his arm joint here and literally just rips off his arm. Which is why this Gipsy Danger doesn't come with an arm. And it's cool that they got a lot of the wiring coming off here. Again, a lot of the yellow paint here, which I imagine is for the sparking kind of effect going on. Or could possibly be hydraulic fluid, but I like the idea of it sparking off all over the place. But there's still a lot of really nice details in here regardless, where you see a lot of the damages up here, and this plate's kind of hiding a little bit, lifted up a little bit so you guys can see it a little better. It looks really cool, and they still got a lot of the gnarly details in here. Just, again, just wish I went a little bit crazier with it. Most of the rest of the body is relatively the same, where you got the nice little yellow and orange paint here for the reactor. Really helps to make it stand out. Some nashes here on the armor here, right up here. Some more of the pinstriping up here at the top of the shoulders. A lot of really nice details that they kind of kept with the Hong Kong Brawl Gypsy, with here on the chest piece. Same with his metallic abdomen here, looks really cool. On the back here, you'll see some of the thrusters, a lot of the plating, more of the damage up here with some silver paint used for the scratch marks, more of the pinstripe down here. And even with the paint job, it's a lot dirtier looking than Hong Kong Brawl Gypsy, where it has a lot more black paints here inside of the metallic blue that they got. Which really helps to give the figure a lot more of a dirtier look to it. Like, it's really been through hell. So I like the paint job overall in this figure. Then you got some of the vents here. Metallic spine coming down here looks really cool. More of the damage on his tushk. Knifehead's been checking out that ace. And then coming to the arm here, which is not nearly as damaged as you think that would be as well, because the only real scuff marks I seen on here were right here next to the ginormous 34 here. Because that's pretty much it that I really see on here, personally. And this plasma cannon here looks really sweet too. Really love that they actually decided to give us this actual piece, which is something I've been wanting for a long time now. Kind of a bummer it's on a battle damaged figure, but I'll take it where I can. Looks really cool. It's got this little white paint here to symbolize that it's active and getting ready to go pew pew. And there's some little absence of paint here as well, which again helps to kind of convey the damagedness of the figure. And then you can see more of the pinstriping here on the arm here. I really love the expanded look on it, while also grabbing his other arm. You can see here that they kept with the proportion of the sizes for a lot of the plating here. Like, it looks relatively the same to me, which is really nice in terms of the overall design aspects. This could, no, it's pretty much the same there too. Same with the plating down here. It's just I don't really know where this section came from, because on here it's one solid piece and on here it's kind of a block, so that's a little odd. And then for his legs, you see a lot more of these scuffing marks here as well, with a lot of the silver paint here to convey the scratches, which there is some indents on here. Like, a lot of this is just surface paint for the scratches here, but on the legs there's a little bit of nick marks here and over here, which they didn't actually paint over, which is gives it some variety, which is cool. You'll see a lot more of the pinstriping here on the legs here for the red. Then going around, just show you guys the back here, where it has a little bit more copper paint down here for some of the cylinder areas and over the vents here, which actually gives the figure a lot more detail, which I wish they would have maybe done it a little bit more throughout the figure instead of just right here at the bottom, because it does help to make it stand out a little bit better, which is really cool. So overall, in terms of details, it's a nice looking figure. Again, really wish they would have let a lot crazier on the battle damage, but it's still pretty cool. Then go over this articulation real quick. His head, can look left, right, a little bit up, a little bit down. It's just a little bit hard to get him to move around because of all this plastic around here, but you still get a little bit of posability there. This actually does have some posability where you can rotate it all the way around. It's on a ball joint, so you get a little bit of play with it. Just be a little wary of the loose wires hanging around down here, because if you try to use this as a point, I imagine this would probably break off you pretty easily. So let's try to stick up here as much as possible when using the rotation. Over here, his shoulder is also on a ball joint in this, so it can go all the way around. The shoulder pad here has an articulated joint, so you get a lot of movement there. Has a rotation here at the upper part of the bicep. And what's cool is they actually kept the little segment right here where his little muscle here can move up and down a bit, which it's a little bit stiffer, which I actually like, because on the Hong Kong Bro Jib these popped off pretty easy. But what this does is it gives you a little bit easier movement with the elbow joint here, so he can move his arms up a little bit higher than normally, because if you had this thing all the way down, it could only really bend here, but once you lift that bad boy up, get even more bend to it. So that's a cool little idea that NECA had to add to this figure to help with the articulation a lot. But at the elbow, it can move back and forth as a rotation here because it's on a ball joint. And that's pretty much it for that arm. And then if you attach the other hand to it, can't seem to find it at the moment. Then grab the other hand here. This is on a ball joint, so it can rotate all the way around and has a little bit of pivot to it, which is really nice. At the upper part of his abdomen here has a rotation. Can also has a nice tummy crunch. A lot of his joints in this figure initially when I got him were really stiff, and the abdomen was one of them that was a bit of a pain to work into. But it's nothing that just a little bit of play can't get out. Then up here at the top part of the legs, his leg can move forward, back. His legs can move in and outwards, which is cool. Has a double joint here at the knee, which is really nice. He has the joint here and right down here, so gets a really nice bend to the leg here. And then at his feet, they're on a ball joint, but they don't really have too much of a pivot here. They just can rotate a bit. They can move not really much side to side. And then he also has a bend here at the toes. So with the articulation, it's pretty much the same that we got the Hong Kong Brawl Gypsy, so it's still really nice. Legs can't really move out that much farther, but again, it's a lot of the plastic here. You don't really ever see Gipsy Danger really moving that much in the film, because these guys are big, bulky Yeager, so the articulation for me still conveys it pretty nicely. But the one thing, I wish there was still a little bit better bend here at the elbow, but it's just pretty much the way it was designed. It's just not really too much you can do with it to improve on that bend. But overall, still been pretty impressed with the articulation on these figures. So for some quick comparison, here is with the rest of his brothers with Gipsy Danger 1.0, Battle Damage Gipsy Danger 1.0, and Hong Kong Bro Gipsy or Gipsy 2.0. And here he is with his nemesis Battle Damage Knife Head. And here he is with some NECA Godzilla with Godzilla 1984 or 85 and Godzilla 2014. And here is some SH Monster Arts figures with Mecha Godzilla 2 and Godzilla Jr. Your arm is mine. And here he is with the NECA 24-inch long Godzilla 2014, because this is how I imagine this fight would be. So overall, Anchorage Attack Gipsy Danger, he looks really good. The overall detail on him is really nice. Would have wished they would have been a little bit crazier with the battle damage, but it still looks pretty gnarly nonetheless. And his articulation is really good on the figure. So in terms of an action figure, he's still pretty awesome. But the one thing that I can see this figure having a problem with is, for most people, I can see not really having much of an interest in this figure. Because for one, they already released a bunch of Gipsy Danger, so he's kind of fighting a place with a lot of them. Because a lot of them are just a lot nicer looking gypsies and very clean figures. And most people are either going to want a Gipsy Danger because they just really like the character, or they just want a nice representation of the character from the film, which I don't think this figure does very well. But what this figure does really well is help tell a story and really works well with the Battle Damage Knife Head or complementing the Hong Kong Brawl Gipsy Danger and giving him even more accessories. So if you really love to recreate your favorite scenes from the film, especially the Anchorage Attack scene, or if you're just a completionist because you're going to grab this figure regardless, then this figure is for you. So what do you guys think? Have you guys got Anchorage Attack Gipsy Danger? What's your favorite fight scene from Pacific Rim, or Scar's just not your thing? Please let us know in the comments. We'll have closer pictures of him on Facebook. You want to click the link in the description below. Please don't be afraid to share this video around. If you like this and want to see more stuff like this, please give us a like and subscribe. Thank you guys for watching.